Good morning everyone. Our topic is reality therapy. In this topic, we discussed about some of the contents such as about William Glasser, choice theory, components of the theory, reality therapy and the criticism. We almost always have choices, and the better the choice, the more we will be in control of our lives. William Glasser. About William Glasser. William Glasser initially studied chemical engineering but later took psychiatry when he found interest in psychology. He is the founder and president of William Glasser Institute in Los Angeles and is the author of the book Reality Therapy in 1965, Schools with Failure in 1969, Choice Theory in 1998, Identity Society in 1972 and The Quality School in 1990. Around 1980, he began to formulate the choice theory to explain the reason behind people being happy in their relationships. He had been trying to put forth a new therapeutic approach to education.
Okay, and the next slide about the choice theory. The term choice theory is the work of William Glasser, and the basic understanding of choice theory is every individual only has the power to control themselves and has limited power to control others. Applying choice theory allows one to take responsibility for one's own life and at the same time withdraw from attempting to direct other people's decisions and lives. For example, one individual may decide that abstaining from smoking is best for them because they want to protect their health.
Now, let us take a look at the external control psychology. Before moving on to the choice theory, it is important that we understand what external control psychology is, because in Glasser's theory, he prioritizes an internal locus of control. So let us take a look at what this means. Human beings, just like any other animal on earth, have their needs that they wish to fulfill, and they are genetically driven by the need for power, which is usually satisfied through an external control psychology. But the problem is that this usage of external control psychology leads to conflicts, frustration, and as well as disconnected relationships. Let us take a look at the three primary beliefs that external control psychology holds. Number one, I control others' behavior, or we control each other's behavior. Number two, external factors direct my behavior. Number three, I know what is right for you, and if you don't do it, I should and must control you since it's the right decision. As obvious as it is, all these three primary beliefs portray an external element. That is, an individual with external control psychology might be of the viewpoint that I am responsible for making decisions when it comes to other people's behavior, and my own behavior is controlled by others around me. So what happens when one tries to satisfy his or her need using the external control psychology? Well, one individual might end up forcing his or her own viewpoints on another and eventually want the other person to behave like they want them to behave. This, according to Glasser, usually leads to symptoms in an individual that is very similar to the disorders present in the DSM-5. Now remember that Glasser rejected the disease model of mental illness, and according to him, the root cause of unhappiness in people is the unsatisfying or non-existent relationships. This causes an individual to choose maladaptive behavior, where in fact they are unable to fulfill their basic needs, and this, in the end, eventually leads to frustration.
And the next one is important concept of the theory. There are three important concepts of the theory, and one of the concept is need. There are 5 basic needs, and our choices are driven by 5 genetically driven needs. They are survival, love and belonging, freedom, fun and power. These 5 needs that we attempt to satisfy through our behavioral choices. According to choice theory, almost all behavior is chosen and we can only control our own behavior. Although Everyone has all five of these needs, and the drive for love and belongingness tends to be the most important one. You all are familiar with these five needs, and the survival needs such as food, clothing, shelter, air, safety, etc. And the love and belongings is connecting us with others, and freedom means autonomy or without any restrictions. Power is competence or significance, and the fun is simply learning.
Now coming to the quality world as a personal picture album. Taking insight from experiences, individuals build into their memories, images of people, situations, or things that look like the best way to satisfy their needs. This reflects an individual's perception of perfect parents, relations, positions, beliefs, etc. Differs from one individual to the other, and it is dynamic within an individual as well. People are the most important aspect of the quality world when compared to the rest of the elements that come under it.
Now let us take a look at the total behavior. Total behavior is yet another important component that Glasser put forth in his choice theory. There are four important components of behavior that emphasizes the total behavior of an individual. These include action, feeling, thinking, and physiology. Now, according to Glasser, we have direct control over our actions and thinking, but the other behavioral elements, such as the feeling and physiology, is something that is not much of in our control. These tend to be more subconscious or deeply unconscious. These components, however, are highly interconnected. Changes that can occur in action and thinking eventually affects the feelings and physiology elements of it as well. Now let us take a look at what William Glasser refers to as the choice theory. There are 7 caring habits and 7 deadly habits that William Glasser put forth. Let us take a look at the 7 caring habits. These can be listed out as supporting, encouraging, listening, accepting, trusting, respecting, and negotiating differences. The 7 deadly habits can be listed out as criticizing, blaming, complaining, nagging, threatening, punishing, bribing, or rewarding to control. 7 caring habits are the habits that needs to be nurtured because these lead to a more satisfying relationship. Whereas 7 deadly habits are the habits that needs to be eliminated at all costs because eventually an individual using these habits would end up acquiring maladaptive behaviors when they are unable to engage or fulfill his or her needs. Comparing world is yet another topic that Glasser put forth. Comparing world is a place where we tend to compare our perception of people, places, and things against our ideal images in our quality world framework. What happens is that our subconsciousness motivates us to strive towards matching our quality world with what can be referred to as reality.
The 10 axioms. A choice becomes ideal when it is directed towards seeking happiness in satisfying relationships rather than focusing only on the pleasure that disregard our connections to others or force others to behave in ways that we think are best. Now, coming to the 10 axioms, the first one is the only person whose behavior we can control is our own. The second one is all we can give another person is information. And the third one is all long lasting psychological problems are relationship problems. And the fourth one is relationship are almost part of our present life. The fifth one is what happened in the past has everything to do with what we are today, but we can only satisfy our basic needs right now and plan to continue satisfying them in the future. The sixth one is we can only satisfy our needs by satisfying the pictures in our quality world. The seventh one is all we do in behave, and the eighth one is all behavior is total behavior and is made up of 4 components like acting, thinking, feelings, and physiology. The next one is all total behavior is chosen, but we only have direct control over the acting and thinking components. We can only control our feelings and physiological indirectly through how we choose to act and think. And the last one is all total behavior is designated by verbs and named by the part that is the most recognizable.
Now that we've learned about choice theory and its important elements, it's time to look at reality therapy. Reality therapy is a counseling approach, and obviously it is based upon Glasser's choice theory. Here, an individual's internal locus of control is developed. Now, this is the primary focus of the therapy. The essence of the therapy is that we are all responsible for what we do, and what we do is upon our decision to make. We can control our present lives. It also addresses the issue of unsatisfying relationship that stems out of the use of external control psychology that we tend to use while satisfying our basic needs. Another interesting factor of reality therapy is that, unlike other psychotherapeutic approaches, reality therapy focuses on the present rather than the past. It is the current behavioral issues that needs to be fixed, rather than trying to find meaning out of the past experiences and failures. Reality therapy also teaches an individual to make choices effectively and also to deal with situations that oftentimes might be problematic. It also encourages them to have control over their lives, which is the key to personal freedom. Reality therapy is a method that is based upon common sense and as well as emotional engagement. Here, individuals are basically taught to face their realities of their own behavior and choices by altering and modifying the various psychological elements that can be associated with it. Reality therapy teaches an individual to be responsible for their own miseries and misfortunes rather than pointing fingers at others.
The next slide includes qualities that a therapist should have. The personal qualities are empathy, positive regard, congruence, energy, and optimism. And the professional qualities are communicate hope, redefine the problem insolvable, attainable terms, and use metaphors effectively. Next one is about the techniques. The techniques used are teaching, humor, positiveness, confrontation, role playing, and feedback. And the next one is about the procedures. The procedures are action planning, reframing, and behavioral rehearsal.
Now coming to the criticism. First one is opposition of mental illness. Dr. Glasser claimed that mental illness does not exist, which have received pushback from psychiatric community. And the second one is anti-medication stance. He started medication is never required to treat mental health condition. And the third one is disregard of unconscious. Some people say that reality therapy fails to recognize the power of our unconscious. And the fourth one is limitation to the present. It means the reality therapy does not aim to understand past conflict unlike traditional form of therapy.